Hey everyone. I wanted to come on and share just a really fun story that happened to me at work today. And I titled it, God Can Lead Us Without Us Even Realizing It, because that is what happened to me today. um, so, a while ago, gosh, it's probably been a few years. I float, and a few years ago, I was floated to our radiation oncology clinic. I'd never been there before. I didn't even know where it was. The lady in the staffing office was so nice. She's like, "Do you know where it is?" I said, "No." She's like, "It's kind of hard to find." So she walked me all the way there. I didn't realize there was two floors. There was a main floor and then a lower level. So I was kind of waiting upstairs and I didn't see anyone. Well, finally someone came in and said, "Oh, honey, you're supposed to be downstairs." So that led to me filling in that day. They said, "Yeah, we have a nurse out who just needs to renew her ACLS, which is a requirement, advanced cardiac life support." So I was like, "Okay, no problem." And I was like, "Wow, this is a whole different world. I had no idea this was, I never really had any exposure to it." So it turns out the nurse ended up needing to go like out of work like all week. So I ended up filling in that whole week, and I just ended up filling in because they needed more and more help. I ended up filling in for them for about a year and a half. And I learned so much. I had never worked in radiation oncology, but I was able to just work with cancer patients and learn all about that world. And I just loved it. I loved everything I was learning. I loved the nurses. They were so great. There was two nurses that had just obviously loved working there because they've been there for years and years, over probably 25 years together. So, but after a while, they kind of got some new management and they were kind of cutting back and going through some changes with different things. So they didn't need me anymore, and unfortunately, I didn't get to fill in with them, and I was really bummed. But ever since that time, was just looking for. That's what spurred my interest to look for a clinic job. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I really would just love to work in this exact environment with a clinic." And so I just started applying everywhere. I even was in school at the time with a nurse who worked in a radiation oncology clinic at a different hospital, and I applied and didn't get in, and I just was applying all over the place and didn't get in. And I don't know if some of you saw the story where the position I'm in now, I kind of fell into it, and what had me respond so quickly was just knowing that it was a clinic job. So I'm kind of getting a taste of that right now. But I haven't been down to visit in a really long time, probably maybe over a year. I haven't even been down because, once in a while I would pop over and say, "Hi, how are you guys doing?" But I knew there was a period of time there that they were even going home early because they just weren't really busy. So I was, it'd just been a while. I think the last time I said hi to them, I sent them an email. So anyway, so this is kind of funny. I have been craving, so in our cafeteria, we have just popcorn, this white cheddar popcorn. And let me tell you, I've been thinking about this popcorn for like a couple of days. Like, I want to walk over and get it. So today in the afternoon, I just kind of was like, I'm just going to take a walk across the street and just go get that. So I took a little break and I walked over to the cafeteria, got my popcorn, I picked up a chocolate bar, and I was kind of eyeballing the donuts. I said, "Oh my gosh, those look pretty good." And I'm like, I must just be hungry. But on the way up, since the cafeteria is on the lower level, it goes right past the hallway that goes kind of the back way to the radiation oncology clinic. And I just stopped and I thought, I haven't visited those nurses in a really long time. I want to go say hi. And then, of course, I had a thought cross my mind that, no, I probably should just get back to work. I don't want to take too much time away. But the next thought I had was, you know what? Life is really short, and I'm going to go say hi. So I walk down the long hallway, and I go around the corner, and it's on the lower level. So it's a little ways to get there. But I was just like, and I even thought maybe they're not even there because it is afternoon. And I know the last time I talked to them, they were kind of going home early. So, but I thought, you never know. So I pressed the elevator button, and I know that if they're still open, the elevator will work because when they close at night, they turn the elevator off so patients don't go down there and get lost or into a unit where nobody's working the back way. So when the elevator doors opened, I said, oh my goodness, okay, yes, they're still there, I think. So I was kind of walking down, and I went to the nurses station, and I could see one of the nurses was there talking, having a conversation. So I went around the corner, and I didn't see the other nurse, and I was like, oh, bummer, okay, because I wanted to see them both. But I greeted the other coworkers, and they were just like, oh wow, long time no see, and it was just good to see them. And then one of the nurses came around, and she saw me, and she gave me a big hug, and she's like, did you hear? And I said, hear what? She's like, she mentioned the other nurse's name. She said, it's her last day. I was like, what? Oh my gosh, I had no idea, you guys. I had no idea it was her last day of work. And she's been there for, I think she says she's worked at the hospital for like 31 years, and in that department alone for probably over 24 years. So I was just shocked, and I was like, they're like, and I just kind of was like, yeah. And then right then I was just so excited. I was like, you guys, God led me there. He, just with this little like craving for popcorn, and then, hey, why don't you go say hi? And I had no idea. It was her last day and she was retiring, and I was just so grateful. They're like, she's here, she's with somebody, a patient right now, but hang out, you'll be able to see her. And so I kind of went, she's like, hey, why don't you come into the break room? And she opened the door, and there was just like some kind of things that people had brought in, like a little potluck, and there was donuts. I was like, yay, there's donuts. I was like eyeballing donuts, and I got to have that too. So that made my day. But then she walked in, she was just like so shocked, and she literally was like, there's something about you. She said that to me. There's something about you, because I remember a while ago I had a dream about her, and I remember kind of wandering down to the unit and saying like, how you doing? And kind of sharing a little bit about my dream with her, and it was like exactly what she was going through. And I made a video about that, but I was like, yep. And so she said, there's something about you. Remember that day you came down here? And she was just like blown away. And I was like, I kind of, some other people were walking into the break room at that point, but I was like, yeah, that's the Holy Spirit. So at that point I was like, God coincidences. I was like, you have no idea. I want to send you all the videos of my experiences, but I was like, I'll save that for another time. But I was just able to see her, tell her how great it was to work with her, hear about her plans for retirement. And you guys, like, she's just the sweetest. They're just the greatest nurses. They're kind of like your two mamas, But then I got to talking to the other nurse, and she's like, there's a job posted right now. And I was like, oh, wow. And we kind of just got to chatting, and she was talking about all the changes that were coming, and just kind of how the department is going to be, moved, and different things like that. But I actually was telling her, I was like, I've just been thinking a lot about my position right now, and I never thought I would ever say this, but like, I kind of miss patient contact. Like, I'm just in a cubicle. I don't have any contact other than talking to patients on the phone. And I always would think about my time in that department, how it was so great, because you were sitting there kind of doing a little bit of a coordinating side, requesting records, coordinating their care, but you also pop over and you get to see them. And some of the patients you get to see every single day. And I just love that. And so I was like, okay, I'm at a crossroads, and I'm going to have to pray about this, because she was like, maybe you should apply. And I was like, I don't know, you guys. HR is like Fort Knox. Like, I tell you, I've applied to so many things, and they just like shut it down right away. And then I started to think, it might be because there's supposed to be a specific time and the right door to open, so maybe there's a reason. So I was like, maybe it wouldn't hurt to just put in an application and see what happens. And she was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, I got some things to pray about. But you guys, how cool is that? God can lead you without you even realizing. And that was just such an exciting story. And I just came back, I'm like, how am I supposed to work after this? And I just was reminded of the verse that God gave me when I first started the job that I'm in now. He gave me the Jeremiah 29:11, which is, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to give you a hope and a future, plans to prosper you. Probably not quoting that exactly right, but I just got to thinking, like, I just wonder what's next. Am I supposed to apply for this position that I'm in now permanently? Like, I don't know, but this has kind of thrown me for a loop, and I am like, I wonder if God's plans for my future is something even more, even different. Maybe this is a stepping stone. I don't know. But I do know that I will be praying about it. And you guys, I'm just so blessed that I got to just say my goodbyes, and also just, that other nurse was like, maybe there's another reason you're coming down here today. And I think she was referring to the job position. So you guys, things can change so quickly, and I'm just so encouraged. I'm just so excited that not only that God led me without me realizing it, but the fact that they both were like, there's something about you. And I'm like, yes, it's the Holy Spirit, it's Jesus, But I want my life to be a living testimony for God. I want people to look at me and say, yes, I can see God leads you. That's like no greater compliment for me personally. And I told God, if you're going to give me stories, I'm going to tell about them. I'm going to testify, because it's so cool. I was just as excited. I was like, what? Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I was trying to keep this short, but God's good. He might be leading you and you have no idea. But if you have a story, maybe you could share it with me. Comment below, like, has God led you to a specific time, a coincidence that happened? I'd love to hear. And I hope you guys have a great night. Bye.